Once, long ago, in a small village by the river, there lived two sisters, as different from one another as night is from day. This village, nestled in the heart of Africa, was a place where the people lived simple lives, farming the land, raising their families, and helping one another. But among them were two sisters, whose story is told even today to remind us of the power of humility and the danger of arrogance. The older sister, Adana, was known far and wide for her breathtaking beauty. With skin as smooth as the river's stones and eyes that sparkled like the stars above, her presence alone turned heads. She knew she was beautiful and carried herself as if the world should bow at her feet. But while Adana's outer beauty was admired, her heart was closed off, filled with pride. She believed that her beauty excused her from the hard work that life in the village required. She felt that others should work for her, serve her, simply because of her appearance. Her younger sister, Kemi, was just as beautiful, but you wouldn't know it from her humble demeanor. While Adana spent her days preening by the river, admiring her reflection, Kemi spent her days working alongside the villagers. She never thought herself too good to carry water from the well or help in the fields. Her kindness and generosity made her beloved by everyone in the village. As time went on, the contrast between the two sisters grew. Adana's beauty made her vain, and with that vanity came isolation. She felt herself above the common people, refusing to dirty her hands with the daily chores that kept the village running. She would walk through the village with her head held high, acknowledging no one, her mind occupied only with her own reflection. Meanwhile, Kemi became the heart of the village. She understood that true beauty was found in the way you treated others. Her hands were never idle, whether helping the elders weave baskets, tending to the fields, or comforting a child. Kemi's beauty was in her soul, and the villagers knew it. Though her hands were rough from work, her spirit shone bright. One day, a mysterious old woman came to the village. She was bent with age, her clothes tattered, and her face lined with years of wisdom. The villagers, busy with their daily tasks, hardly noticed her. But the old woman was there with a purpose, for she had heard of the two sisters and wanted to see for herself the differences between them. First, she came upon Adana, who was once again gazing at her own reflection in the river. The old woman approached her and asked, "Child, can you help me? I am weary from my travels and need a drink of water." Adana barely glanced at the old woman, her eyes fixed on her own image in the water. She waved her hand dismissively and said, "There are others in the village who can help you. I have no time for such things." The old woman nodded, saying nothing, and moved on. Next, the old woman found Kemi, who was busy working alongside the village women, grinding maize and sharing a laugh. When Kemi saw the old woman approach, she immediately set down her work and welcomed her. "You must be tired from your journey," Kemi said kindly. "Please come and rest. Let me bring you food and water." Kemi's eyes shone with warmth, and the old woman smiled, accepting her offer. Kemi treated the woman with the utmost respect, offering her what little she had and making her feel at home. The old woman said nothing, but her heart was moved by Kemi's humility and kindness. The old woman stayed in the village for several days, observing the sisters and how they lived their lives. She saw Adana continue to turn away from those in need, focusing only on herself, while Kemi remained a source of light and love in the village. When it was time for the old woman to leave, she revealed her true identity. She was no ordinary traveler, but a spirit sent to test the hearts of the people. She approached Adana first. "Adana," the old woman said, her voice now strong and commanding, "your beauty is undeniable, but it is a fleeting thing. You have allowed it to cloud your heart with pride. For your arrogance, your beauty will be taken from you until you learn the true meaning of humility." And with that, Adana's reflection in the river began to change. Her once perfect face became plain, and her beauty, which she had so prized, vanished. She cried out in despair, but the spirit did not waver. "Only when you have learned humility will your beauty return," she told Adana. Then the old woman turned to Kemi. "Kemi, you have shown that true beauty lies in kindness and service to others. For this, your heart will always shine bright, and the love of this village will follow you all your days." Kemi bowed her head humbly, grateful not for any reward, but for the chance to continue serving those she loved. In the months that followed, Adana was forced to confront the truth about herself. Without her beauty, she could no longer rely on her looks to gain favor. Instead, she had to work alongside the very people she had once looked down upon. She carried water, tilled the fields, and learned the value of humility. Slowly, as she worked and grew in spirit, the villagers began to accept her not for her beauty but for her actions. One day, as she knelt by the river to draw water, Adana caught a glimpse of her reflection. Her beauty had returned, but now it was no longer the most important thing about her. She had finally learned that true beauty comes from within. And so, the story of the two sisters spread far and wide. Adana, once proud and vain, had learned humility, while Kemi, whose heart was always pure, continued to inspire those around her. The lesson of this tale lives on. Beauty fades, but a humble heart lasts forever.